Yeah, with take a powerful blow, obviously, losing control of your powers in a terrible way makes more sense for certain playbooks and certain power sets than others. It's weirder on a
Beacon.
beacon than and in a lot of cases proteges, because for whatever reason a lot of the proteges I see are sort of Robin style than like Aqualad or someone who's got Wonder Girl, things that could have actually
Yeah,
some powers that could
you,
really
you
cut loose.
you could certainly play with
Oh, you can
that with
I'm
a
not
Robin
saying.
character.
Yeah, it's just weirder.
It's all of a sudden all that training clicks into place, and you punch that fellow classmate in the throat.
Yeah.
Ooh,
No, you can absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it can't. It doesn't work. It's just weirder. One of the things that I've done for over in the game that Kaylee's in is um, her character is her super. There's her actual super abilities, her powers are essentially like she's a really good fighter and she's got really high level senses. And you can do the lose your powers in a terrible way and like get overwhelmed by your sensory input kind of thing. But that's really kind of just affecting you, which is just take me out kind of a deal. Um, so with her, I give her the option to do the one from like the grittier power set, like sort of play set that they have for masks, where you can like actually take injuries. It's almost like another condition that you can take where you actually take like physical injuries where you're like, hurt and bleeding and stuff like that. And she's used that option a couple times. It sucks because it's basically like I can't remember specifically, but it's basically like a rolling minus one forward on everything. Um, because you're all, whooped up and stuff. And I don't I almost wish it was in there for all the people all the time because sometimes you just want to be physically hurt. Um, you know, and have it be reflected directly. So whatever, either way. So yeah, uh, some of what happened with your take a powerful blow is being reflected in the move, or sorry, the love letter, and some of it is in these, like the ones that I wrote out in the love letter are the ones that are probably most prominently impacted by what happened in the gym. But there's going to be a bit of a whisper campaign going on around Joe for a while, regardless of anything else,
makes
just because of that. So,
I would expect no less.
first session I ever did with the girls, they got attacked. The kids waiting to go to school got attacked by a villain, and one of the one of them did a defend that they got like a 13 on, which is pretty good, first session. And I gave them the option because of when it happened and what was going on and stuff like that to take influence over all the members of the student body that were there at the time. So it was like a big chunk of the school, um, you know, a ferry boat's worth of kids. And this is sort of the reverse of that. Not like anti-influence, but like a pretty significant, like your homeroom, generally speaking, you know, the dog's never bit me, but he's nipped in my directions a couple times, and I'm kind of on my guard, kind of
Yeah,
thing. You know,
I
that kind of deal.
absolutely.
And I,
And if there wasn't, and if there wasn't, Joe would still be seeing it.
yeah, exactly. Um, Cable Moon died yesterday. And I will say, kudos honestly, because it's very tempting, um, in any of the playbooks to sort of take a weakness thing that's sort of built into the character and try to uh, prove everybody wrong about it right away. And in the process, well, and in the process, like basically never have that badness to look back on. So the Nova really leaning into losing power. And this is not directed at anybody here, but like you run into this like the Nova who's like trying to stay in control all the time and never really loses it. Like always shies away from the losing their powers in a terrible way because they just don't want to do that because it would be really bad if we're a Nova. And the bull who never really just so kudos for leaning into it because now you've got something to look back on later as a good contrast. Superboy and Young Justice is not nearly as cool, being like sort of the tactical, level-headed one in season 2 without him being like a mini Hulk rage beast in season 1. So it's fun stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, when we last left our heroes, stuff had happened. Alex saved the school. Met saved an indeterminate number of people who will never know that they were saved exactly. Um, which I'll parenthetically note is one of the reasons Joe didn't end up hurting people was because Met was also trying to save everybody from major mishap and succeeded at that. So to a certain extent, had to counteract the lose control of your powers in a terrible way, Joe. So that's some of that.
He is painfully aware of it.
Well, the time stream finds a way to level out that paradox by, it's like, okay, well, he didn't hurt a bunch of people, so instead he's going to have a bunch of people not trust him. One way or the other, the consequences will be felt. Alex saved a bunch of people. Joe hulked out, raged out. Met saved the gym. Sink has a play date with his superhero hero. And Kiln destroyed school property despite his own face, or something like that. So I sort of have a love letter and a mini love letter for this session. The one's to Joe, and the other one is to Kiln. But we're gonna worry about Joe's one first. So I will. It's all the same to everybody else. Get rolling up. So the love letter reads, "Hey, Joey, detention. It's what's for dinner." Wait, not dinner. That doesn't even make any sense. You can't eat in detention. Detention. It's what's for detention. That's what it is. It's not nearly as catchy. Roll mundane. On a 10 plus, pick 2. On the 7 to 9, pick 1. There's a couple different options here. We will discuss them in a moment. Well, actually, I'll go down through the whole thing. So first option, you melted down in gym, and that's not great, but you also said some stuff while you were raging out. You don't really remember what, but it impressed someone in the class. Tell us who it was, and we'll ask them if they see you as Mighty Joe Young or just Joey. If it's Mighty Joe Young, mark potential and clear condition. If it's Joey, take influence over them. Your screw up in the gym totally did not surprise someone in class. You didn't disappoint them. You performed exactly as they expected, but that just means they aren't ready for the real Joe Young. Pick a classmate who doesn't believe in you. If and when you defend them, you take influence over them, even on a miss. And finally, someone in class who just wasn't paying attention to you now is a lot. Who is it? Take influence over them, and if you take a condition from their attention, also take potential. Finally, on a miss, you can pick one of the above, but your rage out left 2 of your classmates with serious reservations about whether or not you're cut out to be a hero. They didn't even have to say anything. You can see it on their faces. Take angry and shift 1 label up and 1 label down, your choice. If you already have angry, take a condition and give both of them influence over you. Hugs and kisses, editorial. And then I went and looked at his mundane, and I kind of winced because I didn't realize how terrible it was.
Alrighty.
Hang on just one second before you roll. I got somebody tap me on the shoulder here. 1 second. Now, potential dog emergency avoided. Dave, why don't you roll mundane? Oh, Dave.
Wow.
Oh dear.
A 6 minus 2.
So that was going to fail no matter, well, not no matter what, but okay. So mark potential. I mean,
woohoo!
Yeah, I guess mark potential. We start off strong.
Yeah.
So you do get to pick one of the above from your meltdown, but you also have the miss thing. You don't have angry, which I was actually kind of surprised by because you didn't have angry at any point there. You raged out. You raged out, but you didn't actually pick up the angry condition, which is fine.
Right. So I'll go ahead and check. I will go ahead and check angry.
You do take angry.
I'm always angry.
which does nothing to help my ability to pierce the mask or comfort and support, even with my minus 2 mundane.
No.
I got minus 4 on those.
I actually
Give me a hug.
I've actually seen a Nova like who tried to like defeat a villain by doing a comfort and support with a -2 mundane while angry. It went about as well as you could expect. Anyway, yeah. Let's process the miss first because this would be you like leaving the gym. Um, two of the people in class. Um, and I need to get up the uh,
Yeah, I've got all these all these tabs here. Let me look and
somewhere.
see.
Let's get into Google Drive here. Where's all my stuff? Somewhere in here. Come on. Supers, masks. 616. There's our homeroom.
Hey,
Okay.
Joyce.
Yes, sir.
We put together a post called the Big List of Character Oracles that includes not only a list of people to roll on, but also includes links to the graph and the seating chart.
Nice.
Oh,
If you're going to bookmark something, I'd recommend bookmarking that.
That is a good thing. You guys are so good, and I've been so terrible at. I don't even have a really good excuse right now because
it's almost too much info to cross-reference here.
When starts the homeroom? Is that where did it end up? I gotta get incorrect quotes up. Big list of characters. I see it.
That's the one.
I dropped it into the masks channel in Discord as well.
Thank you. You roll die twice for random people, or start with one specific person, roll for another one. Find a connection. Very nice. I like it. That's great. So for you, Dave, that's all the people, obviously. Very useful.
Yep.
Two people who you could tell from their faces have serious reservations about whether or not you're cut out to be a hero.
I am going to say
It doesn't matter in this case because they're not. This isn't a situation where they get influence over you because you don't already have angry. You take angry and you shift one label up, one label down. But I'm curious who it is.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? These guys are not going to magically get influence over you. But you know,
right.
who's got their strong doubts?
But it's useful to know. I am going to. Okay, and I even have my bullet point as well. Okay, I'm going to say, Haley.
Okay.
Two kick.
All right.
Who's probably got a sensitivity to people acting out violently.
Yes. Might it be one of the guys who are on your team or on your competition?
Yeah, that was Roy and Evan. I'm actually saving Evan up because I'm probably going to take the did not surprise someone in class. With Evan.
Yeah, that's good.
So I guess the other person, sure. There's all sorts of cool complications by making it Roy.
Yeah. So he's definitely got. Again, not taking influence or anything like that. Just
nope.
Roy and Haley have kind of a doubt in it.
So let me make a note of that.
Duly noted.
Anger up. Roy and Haley giving him the side eye. I decided not to take Pollyanna just because we're lab partners, and she actually Pollyanna is probably digging it. And for the pick one, I will choose Evan.
Your screw up in gym totally did not surprise Evan.
Yep.
So yeah,
at this point I might perform exactly as expected, but that just means they're ready for the real Joe Young.
So
ready for the real Joe Young.
If and when you have the opportunity to defend them, regardless of whatever happens on the die roll or anything like that, you can take influence over them in addition to whatever else, even on a miss. So probably something you drop in the notes, like having a +1 forward against somebody or something like that. Like if and when I defend Evan, I get to take influence over him, no matter what. Because he'll be so damn surprised of you acting like a hero.
Ain't we just?
Yep. Detention. Detention. Who's teaching detention? Who's got the who pulled the short straw, I wonder, on detention today for the teachers? Meanwhile, I have a much simpler, if anybody has a suggestion, I welcome it. If anybody has a suggestion, I welcome that. And in the meantime, I will pull up it's not really a love letter. It's just a thing for Kiln because it seems like I should invoke this character, this move that Kiln has, which we will stick down in the chat and I'll put over in Discord just so it's there, which simply reads, greetings, Kiln. You acted out against a superior in a structured learning environment and you've been assigned detention, air quotes, which is meant to be some kind of punishment for your behavior. You get the gist. You imagine it's just like what would happen if you'd done the same thing in your previous life. Roll adaptability and find out if you're right. So to go over to Kiln's character sheet, there is a ancient wisdom move. I should have said roll ancient wisdom. Roll adaptability. When you apply your old life to a modern situation, roll adaptability instead of the required label. On a miss, shift adaptability down and another label up. As you find yourself out of your depth, mark a condition as well. On a hit, everything you learned before coming to the modern age guides you, but things aren't exactly the same. On a 7 to 9, name something you didn't expect or that's changed and how it's put a snag in your expectations. On a 10 plus, you overcome the obstacle, take a +1 forward on finishing the situation. So I'm mostly curious to see if Kiln's expectation for what this punishment should entail, I've gotten attention. I understand. Where is the whipping post? That kind of thing. So, bloop. I hear a bloop. Oh,
Bad bloop.
That's a bad bloop. Well, take potential.
Yep.
Yay. On a miss, shift adaptability down and another label up. Is that how that works? Is like it all adds up to the whole total?
Oh, I still need to do that as well. I need to shift.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, okay, so I'm looking at this move, the way it's written. I'm just trying to figure out this whole thing. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, down to 3. I'm confused about this, I guess, because maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I shouldn't be confused. Let me go look. I need to go look at the relic playbook real quick because
what he's asking is normally when you have 5 labels, they're going to sum to 3 at character creation.
Yeah, and you've got
does your 5 labels plus adaptability sum to something more, or does it sum up to 3?
No, it's less. It's because your adaptability starts at -1.
Okay, so question answered.
It's a bit of a weird deal because then. Okay. Let me just look at the adaptability thing, see how this all sums up. All right, sorry, I got an incoming call here real quick. I need to answer. I'll be right back.
In the playbook area that for the relic where it talks about adaptability, it doesn't say anything about where it affecting the total number.
Sorry, I'm just so this is the fun moment of this is the fun thing about this playbook evolving and being a fan playbook. Ancient Wisdom isn't in here in the version that I have, so I don't have a way to look at it.
Here,
Yeah. Okay.
just sent the
Yeah, I'm pulling it up just to look at it.
Google Doc I use, which while you're gone, I was taking a look, and the area that talks about adaptability doesn't say anything about changing or affecting the total
Right.
of the others.
Well, see, that's my thing is that all right. I'm sorry that this has brought us to a screeching halt, but I didn't. So this is okay. I mean, okay. Sorry, because in every one of these situations, it's like, well, it shouldn't affect the whole total, except it totally does because they have people like you move your adaptability and your other thing, your other stats, up and down, which I don't know, kind of throws everything out of whack, but whatever. The move that rather than rolling the Ancient Wisdom, which is a different thing, I'm the move that's in here. Yeah, I don't. The playbook doesn't really explain adaptability at all, like the one that I'm looking at, which is great. The way that the move here is written right under adaptability, when you are confronted with modern social situations or advanced technology, roll adaptability. On a miss, the object or situation is simply beyond your frame of reference. Mark a condition and give ground or express frustrations by either lashing out at the team or the object or situation in question. On a hit, well, it won't matter in this case. Okay, so going back to, trying to get back on track here, going back to what happened, you've been confronted with a modern social situation. We got a miss. The object or situation is simply beyond your frame of reference or just plain weird. Mark a condition and give ground or express either, I think it's mark a condition and either give ground or express frustrations by lashing out at the team or object or situation in question. So the question then to James is clearly this befuddles and frustrates you the way that the punishment for your actions are handled is disconcerting or frustrating or something for you. You don't handle it well, and you either like withdraw. I don't know exactly what give ground looks like, but I'll think of something good if that's the way you want to go, or you kind of lash out and get even more frustrated and annoyed and whatever. In any case, pick up condition. So, not to put you on the spot, but what does that look like? Like, what is this not serious enough? Is it weird and petty and not the kind of punishment that you're expecting, or in what way is this just something that sets you clean back on your heels? And if you need a moment, I will cycle around and find out what's going on with everybody else.
I
Or we can
think
appeal
that
to the peanut gallery also, but keep going.
no, I was gonna say feel that it's that pettiness of the punishment.
Because essentially, I mean, depending on who the teacher is, and I'm absent any other input from anybody, I'm inclined to just grab someone like Mr. Brick, who is kind of a stickler for this kind of stuff, or is just ironic in terms of the right person to get for this kind of thing. It ends up being an after-school extra study hall because they basically just give you a whole bunch of homework to do, or they, there's always that kind of like knock all the chalk out of the erasers kind of, annoying and petty and
Joyce, are you speaking from experience here?
Well, I'm trying to think of, sure, yes, but the idea that it's like some sort of annoying, petty physical activity that nobody at the school really wants to do, so they have the detention kids do it. And I'm trying to think of something that would be really good for, or I'm throwing out to everybody, like, what would be a really good something like that to do at a superhero school? Like,
well, in a real school, just picking an example at random, you would do the, policing the yard, so pick up any scraps of paper,
exactly.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Resetting the gym stuff, or they send you back down to Surge, and you have to paper mache back, all of the automobiles back together.
All hard automobiles. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like having to duct tape and then recolor the duct tape on all the strapping together of the various cars, and just annoying, stupid stuff like that. Or even less punishmenty, I guess, is that idea that you're just like stuck in the room for an hour and a half having to do homework, which just means you're ahead on homework, which hardly even feels like punishment at all. So what would be the thing that would like sort of annoy, kill him the most? I kind of want to lean over to you and say, like, what's the thing that lets you get that would be the kind of result that would have you get frustrated and just like, what is this kind of thing? There's no beatings. We're not being tasked to run 10 miles carrying the weight of another soldier on our back. Whatever.
No labor in the crystal mines.
We're not being tasked to peel 400 potatoes by sunset, or sharpen every weapon in the barracks, or
clean out the Aegean stables.
Yeah, or the latrine with a toothbrush, with my toothbrush. I welcome amusing input from the peanut gallery as well in terms of what would be a good kind of detention punishment. Something for Kiln to rage against. I mean, fixing up the big mess in the gym is the obvious one because it sends Joe Kiln right back down to the mess that Joe caused in the first place. Um, that's going to be where I lean
We
in
can
any
do
case.
that.
Yeah, because so you get up to the thing, the detention, and before you even get into the room, Hellbinder's kind of waiting there. Um, Actually, no, I take that back. Mrs. Schwartz is there with a clipboard. How she gets around so fast? It's a miracle. Anyway, no, boys, detention for you is going to be on site. Head right back down to the gym. Apparently, there's been some damage to repair. Have fun. Little fanning fingers wave. Um, Goodbye. This is at the end of the day, obviously, towards the end of the day. So it sends you right back down to the gym to do all this stuff. So we cut
It's
to
severe wave.
yeah, exactly. It's severe wave from Babylon 5. Yeah. Um, so we cut to glue pots and rubber cement and you know duct tape and all sticky things and patchwork and stuff like that, and an array stretching ahead of you of all of these damaged, ripped, and crushed, beat up cardboard cars. Um, and all of that stuff getting stuck to fingers, stuck to hands, stuck in fur, and so you've got Joe cursing as he's tugging duct tape back out of his off the back of his hand. Um, Kiln getting paper stuck to his hand and then trying to get that off and getting it stuck to his other hand and getting it in his hair. Um, Randomly, whatever car you're working at starts screaming. Like the family inside, like ah, like the electronics inside will just start screaming like they're afraid, like mommy save me, and with everything else that's going on. Um, and Surge, who can go into parade rest for possibly a geologic age without anyone being the wiser, just watching you with the. I think his eyes do like a kit car thing. Like he's got that one slot right across the face with the thing, and I think his eyes actually do the tracking back and forth like the old school Cylons and the kit cars and stuff. So he's just sitting there watching with the lights, implacable, um, unmoving. Although you get the sense possibly deeply amused somewhere on the inside watching all of this happen. Um, and there's the occasional comment. It's like, if you think this is bad, imagine doing it by yourself, young. You ought to thank your buddy there for, also flipping out in a completely inappropriate way in the middle of a school.
I want to say that Alex is going to show up for this, not because Alex per se, but just because nobody knows.
Just because nobody knows what.
Like if someone walks into detention and said, "I got assigned here," who's gonna?
Oh, that's true.
Touch
I mean, so you just walk in and just drop your backpack down and walk over and like, what are we doing?
Sigh heavily.
Do you even bother with the sigh heavily do you act in a way that's convincingly annoyed with being in detention, or you just show up and say, I want to be there?
No, I'm just emotionally distant like usual. It's like,
You just show
it's
up.
a thing the adults make you do.
Do we have
What if?
do we have a surname for Alex?
Shelby.
Shelby. Damage Yugo. You go to the Yugo.
That was very funny, sir.
Yes, that is correct. Consider it makeup for missing my class this morning.
I've never worn makeup, sir. I'll think about it.
Relentless. I love it. Um,
Joe snorts.
so what, Killen? I want you to get like that moment where you finally just like, this is stupid, and throw everything down. But I want to loop around to see what everybody else is going on. What's going on with everybody else. In the meantime, and then we'll come back to this. But first, a quick question, like, to Alex, why? Like, really,
I'm keeping
why?
an eye on two. I'm keeping an eye on two volatile and unknown assets. Also, I'm bored.
I see. Okay. And you found out they were going to detention. This is the first time that like truly interesting things have really happened to the team since you got to the school. So, um, how much have you heard? Like, is it mostly grapevine stuff that you've heard about why they're in detention, or you just know that they were in detention?
Probably on the grapevine.
Okay. So, yeah. Joe trashed the entire gym. Um, reports vary on Kiln from like fireballed the whiteboard to like took a swing at the teacher to um something argument with the teacher destroyed, melted down part of the school or part of the room. Most of them seem to say projector. Details vary.
I heard took a swing at the teacher too, and then you just dropped out.
Oh,
but I think I get
Okay, thank you.
yeah, took a swing at the teacher, fireballed the whiteboard. Reports vary. Most of them seem to lean toward like something close to accuracy because it's pretty cool that he fireballed the projector, to be perfectly honest. So the facts tend to stay pretty close to the truth on that one. Matt, okay, so the gym thing was happening. That's relatively early in the day. Lunchtime, your closer friends, the ones that you have been involved in heroic hijinks and stuff with, you're keeping an eye on, seem to be kind of scattered to the four winds. That would be when Kiln and Joe were both separately getting explanations from Hellbender about what detention means, and why it is not an infinite, or the ability for the school to be repaired is not an infinite monetary pool from which to draw. So they're not around. Alex is, somewhere missing. Sync is around, but I say kind of like still sort of starry-eyed and stuff like that. And you're approached by Evan, who is blushingly, well, in your case, like blush-inducingly poetic about the way you handled yourself in the gym, and like strode in out of nowhere like a famed Valkyrie, but just as though you knew exactly where to stand and what to do, and were ready for everything, and such heroism, such power, even wielding these technological gizmos and this, like, but so naturally, so enticingly. And you can't tell if he's misusing the word because he doesn't understand. He's finding a good word that seems like it's kind of applicable.
Sounds good.
Or if he's actually incredibly accurate about the word, and it's a terribly inappropriate word choice to use in this situation, and he doesn't care. But yeah, so commandingly, so enticingly, so excitingly. So, what are you doing this weekend?
So you get the little
And yes, you get the E, but you swear somewhere over in the distance, like at some other table, somebody drops a lunch tray. Like it seems as though things get quiet, and then some, and you hear very quietly in that like, "Are you kidding me, Sharon?" kind of voice. You hear somebody in like kind of a half whisper go, "What?" Um,
That could be any number of people
that could be
for any
any
number of reasons.
that could be any number of people, male or female. But in this case, we're going to go towards the Sharon, Brenda, Karen kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Macaroon.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, definitely could be.
Um, if she can get something out between all of the blood running to her face, away from her brain, um, she'll look down at her watch, which is actually just sort of a combination of many of the clocks and calendars in her room, and say, just studying.
I've been told that the vendors, the food vendors along the shoreline, that's not the right word. Shoreline. No, the wooden shoreline, the
I wouldn't know.
boardwalk, the vendors of food and various paraphernalia and entertainments along the boardwalk make a delightful frozen confectionery known as iced cream. And I was wondering if you'd like to come and have some of that and pursue some of these other entertainments that they have there. They have I would like to avoid the wheel made of iron for reasons that I believe, given my nature and certain mythological aspects, should be obvious. This Ferris wheel sounds very unpleasant. But aside from that, I am yours to command. And he does this ridiculous Goblin King bow with his front heel
it's
forward
beautiful.
and the whole.
It is gorgeous and fantastic, and I have no idea what to say. So you just hear this little yes.
Lovely. Lovely.
And then she's quickly trying to figure out some way to run away before it gets more embarrassing.
Save. Luckily lunch is a very short period, much shorter than the other one. So, he actually, I will say this, is quite good at the grand entrance and exits. He's not going to allow things to get awkward.
Gotcha.
In this way, he's somewhat different than a typical outsider, but he's still an outsider and being completely outrageous and ridiculous. But once you say yes, he sweeps up and he's like flings his arms back, and his sleeves at the cuffs kind of hang down. They come to a point, but the point is like 2 or 3 feet below his wrist, kind of a thing. So when he flings his arms
medieval.
up, yeah, he
very,
flings
very
his
that
arms
sort of
up.
medieval women's gown that comes down.
Right. But when he flings his arms, when he comes up above his bow, his arms go out, and the sleeves, with this movement that he does, he kind of moves his arms back, and they wrap around his wrist like twice, like they've got weights at the tips, and just wrap around and kind of like come up against his arms with kind of a little woof. And it's probably meant to be very grandiose and ridiculous, and for you, it's like a freaking Sailor Moon transformation sequence. It's all glitter. For those of us watching the television show at home, we're howling at dismay and how ridiculous he looks. But it's still kind of cool. He thinks it's cool in any case, but he's like, wonderful, flap. And then he goes, very well, I look forward to this weekend. And for now, I will leave you. And again, a little bit of a half bow and a bow that somehow turns into a turn, and he sort of just catwalks out of the room, and amidst shocked silence, like people can't even, they just can't even. Now, because of the size of the school and the size of the lunchroom, and it's not like the entire school's there. It's mostly your grade, a lot of the sophomore class, that kind of thing. So it's not like everybody's there, but it's enough people that know him to know exactly how ridiculous. But he's not ridiculous. That's the problem. You either like him, in which case you really like him, or you're Joe, in which case he'd be happy to point out
and now, of course, Sequoia,
how incredibly ridiculous and stupid this whole thing is. Except it isn't, because he's just so dreamy. Sync. Okay. So you had gotten a pass from Jim, went over to do the thing with your hero,
Powertronic.
I was gonna say Powercaster for some reason. Powertronic. I gotta write that down like big letters.
Powertronic.
And
Like an 8-track.
yeah, the thing I'm
what
curious.
was the one we came up with last week to help you remember?
Like
that?
a Barca lounger.
Yeah.
It sounded like a recliner, like a really good recliner. Where did you put your? Okay, I'm looking at your 2 layers of tabs in this character sheet are useful, but at the same time potentially confusing. Okay. Your thing with Powertronic went pretty well, but it was subtle enough that not really. I mean, it didn't really draw a lot of attention. So you're kind of the assistant. Everyone sort of the people who came to see him in his presentation and stuff like that really weren't paying that much attention to you. The fact that you hung around afterwards isn't really that notable. So while you're kind of on cloud nine, it's not like anybody. It's not like people. You slowly come to the realization that as much as it kind of feels like it, everybody that sees you in the hallway is not going, "Oh, that guy got to hang out with Powertronic and get invited over to the HHL, next weekend to check him out." Like nobody really knows that happened. Still incredibly cool for you, but it actually kind of flew a bit under the radar, and maybe somewhat annoyingly.
Disappointingly.
Well, somewhat disappointingly, somewhat annoyingly, everybody seems to be talking about everybody else in your team except for you, and you did the coolest thing.
I didn't do the coolest thing. I did the coolest thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. You did the coolest thing, and apparently Alex did some sort of deal with like some sort of booby trap, or maybe reports hazy. Check back later on that, but some people saw them up in a classroom, and there was some gizmos that they apparently disabled. Everybody's talking about Joe because he like flipped out about people not taking. Yeah, since you're his rival, I think the spin that you hear about this is Joe flipped out because people weren't taking the exercise in the gym seriously enough, and he really flipped out and trashed the whole thing. But the spin isn't like
that sounds like Joe.
The spin that you hear isn't he got frustrated and broke a bunch of stuff because he blew the thing, which is certainly what many people are saying. You heard like nobody was taking it seriously, and that's what made him flip out. Kiln melted some AV equipment, which sounds very unkilling, so people are talking about that. Met, saved everybody from Joe. sort of. Apparently, that's the short version. So everybody's talking about everyone else. Two of your team have detention. Um, and that seems to be kind of the hubbub. At least it's going around at your amongst the sophomore class, amongst your grade levels that the people are talking about. Nothing at all about power triangles. I think I wasn't even here.
No respect for the greats.
So, I mean, is that a thing to fix? A thing to ignore? Are you trying to figure out what went wrong? What like if your friends are okay? What are you doing in response to this? Is this like is it honestly make you frustrated, or is it something where it's like, wait a second, who's in detention? What now? What happened now? That kind of thing.
Oh yeah, no. He's definitely got to go help out his friends, and not just because he has to brag about what happened with Powertronic.
That's funny. So when you say help out your friends, what does that mean?
Man, moral support? That's a thing.
So you go down to the gym for detention just so you can sit on the bleachers and watch them, or
Yes.
is that? uh, that sounded a lot like you like saying yes, but at the same time evilly rubbing your hands together.
It was.
Uh,
Because I didn't think about that, and I was like, oh, yes. Yes.
I take it.
Let us twist the knife more.
I take it back. That's exactly what's happening. So, what is Kiln? What are they doing? Because I feel like in order to give him some reason to feel like he's actually there in some sort of supporting fashion, um, I think Sync should walk in like when you're having your outburst to one would assume in the direction of Surge or just people in general or whatever. But like, what does that look like? What is Kiln saying? What are they saying like or doing or whatever?
Um, I it happens when one of the cars lets out one of the cries,
Yep,
and
sort
that is what tears it.
literally tears it in this case. I'm picturing that scene in like Age of Ultron where in like Steve Rogers is splitting wood and he gets frustrated with Tony and just rips one of the pieces of wood like apart with his bare hands, because the first time you ever see that in the audio in the movie theater, everyone in the audience goes ooh, except in this case it's a cardboard SUV or something. I just, for the record, the little electronic thing taped to the inside of the cardboard car to make the screaming sounds is maybe my favorite little thing. Anyway, so the thing cries out, what do you do?
Oh,
Um,
please tell us that it does the little dying gasp sort of thing, too.
yeah, I was just like taping it or gluing it, whatever, back onto the cardboard, and it lets out a thing, and I crush it, and you hear it go on for a few seconds longer, dying away.
Is there a problem, Kiln? Is there a reason the family of five needed?
Oh.
Is there a family is there a reason the family of five with the little dog Rover needed to die again?
I don't understand why we are doing this.
Well, you melted a projector, and that's school property, and this is damaged school property, so there's some sort of cycle of life thing going on here where you're fixing school property after you damage school property. It seems fairly straightforward. Is it not heroic enough for you? Suddenly this guy is ripped torn in a power suit. Anyway.
How does us knowing how to glue this cardboard together?
I picture you like trying to gesture like dismissively, but at the same time you've got like duct tape stuck to your fingers, so it's sort of like like glue this cardboard back together. Sorry I interrupted, but the physical image there.
How does this teach us any skills to go forward in life?
Skills. That's an interesting question.
Humility.
Skills. No. I wouldn't say that this teaches you any particular skills. I mean, not least because you could be demonstrating some skill at reassembling these things, and you're not. He says, gesturing somewhat at Joe, who at this point in time looks like a kindergarten art project. No, this is not meant to teach a skill. This is meant to be an object lesson in consequences. All of your actions, and you'll forgive me if I think I have a particular insight into this subject, but all of the actions that you take while you're wearing your suit or simply acting in this role that you've been allowed to step into, all the actions, good and bad, will have consequences. You fight someone you shouldn't fight, you're going to deal with that. You make a decision that you maybe shouldn't have made, or you make the wrong decision for the right reasons, there will be consequences. If you let your frustrations get the better of you and maybe cave in the powered armored chest of some asshole from the HHL, they'll be a little bit too close to home on that one. There will be consequences. What I understand your frustration when you say that doing petty little things and piecing together what seems like completely unimportant items at a school is incredibly frustrating. Believe me when I say that I understand that. Taking care of petty things in the school is yes, I can even fake a bit of empathy. But I'm not here primarily to teach you combat skills or rescue skills or any of that, because frankly, you're either going to figure that stuff out in the field or you're not. I'm here as an object lesson. And if you haven't figured that out by now, let me make it clear. I am a warning. And this ridiculous thing, he says, gesturing at all of the cars and the paint tape, is a warning. You need to start using your head, or you're going to end up with people hurt, yourself or those that you care about. Or something that you will regret will happen, regardless of what that happens to be. I'm coming up with the cliches. Someone you care about. Innocent, but whatever. Point is, use your head or you're going to hurt somebody. Because you have the capacity to hurt somebody easily. And I think both of you, I say this to Joe and Kiln, both of you, he still has influence over. I think who doesn't he have influence? Is that Sync?
That's me.
Sync. So Sync, you walk in during this. Speech, I guess. I'll ask Alex, what are they doing? Oh, well, I'll ask Bill, what is Alex doing sort of in response to this, or just kind of watching, carrying on? But it's definitely not directed at Alex. Okay.
While this monologue has been going on, Alex has been hacking into the little voice things to do the Slap Chop remix.
Oh Jesus. Oh my God. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. But since there's no monologues have an area of effect in this case. So in both the case of Kiln and Joe, he is going to use his influence to shift your labels. The speech is the same for both of you, and the effect is the same for both of you. He would like to shift your danger down and your superior up. Use your head, or somebody's going to get hurt, basically. So I will first turn to Joe because, he witnessed your thing firsthand. And if I may be frank, what you did is a bit order of magnitude larger than what Kiln did, sort of in terms of raw destructive stuff.
So, sounds like all the groups want us to move our danger down.
Well,
That is the point it's called.
there is a bit of that.
Let's-
Yeah. It's tricky because it's a superhero school. And I will say, like, Hellbender has a thing. Like, if two kids get into it out on the football field and decide to have a throwdown, nothing's really going to happen with that. There's a very hands-off attitude about that because, to a certain extent, superheroes need to learn how to superhero, and some of that means pounding the crap out of each other in an open field. But yeah, when that goes to a point where like the wrong stuff got punched, then yeah, there's going to be that kind of thing. So, Joe, I will go to you. And does that sink home? Do you let that go? Do you resist? What do you do? I will parenthetically note, Sync, since you do not, since Surge does not have influence over you, you're not really in the net, so to speak. You're not really caught in the net of this.
Well, note as an adult, Surge automatically has influence, doesn't he?
Yes.
He rejected it.
Yeah, he's.
Oh, that's right.
Surge has lost influence over Sync from session 2. So right now, Sync isn't. He's hearing the words and true or false or whatever, but they don't have that same weight of, they just don't have the same weight. So I'm going to give you an in there where, should you so choose, should it become necessary, you can spend team to assist if they decide they're going to resist his influence. With a light comment or a snide comment or a snarky comment or whatever. There could be consequences of that too, but the option's there in your case, because like I said, you're not really caught in the net of what he's saying. So I'm throwing that out there. A little fun bit. Joe, what do you think? I don't even know what I'm throwing this stuff out there. I don't even know what your stats are. Your danger is high. That's
my danger is high. My
superior's
is actually not doing bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide.
Yeah, it's one of those funny things of like, I actually don't hate this label shift, but I really hate giving into this guy is one of the great.
Yeah, and he's angry. So you know what? he's gonna hold on to that through because of that anger. He wants to hold on to this. Yeah, no, I'm dangerous. Clearly, I'm dangerous. How
Kind
dare
of
you
thing.
tell me I'm not dangerous?
Okay. So when you reject someone's influence, roll. It's just a straight up roll. On a hit, you successfully hold to yourself and tune them out. And then we have choices to make based on that, depending on what happens there. So it's just a straight up roll. It's not affected by conditions or anything else.
I didn't go through. Calculating.
Game loading. Please wait.
Calculating.
Too much glue.
Roll something.
The numbers still haven't loaded for me. Oh my god, the internet hates me lately. I don't even know. We have this e-learning site that we like build stuff for, and we can review it up on this site. And for some reason, the site that we upload to review, that's the site that's lagging. So like, and we have so much stuff to submit and review right now, and we can't get through a course just to test and see if it works. Okay, so that's still not coming up.
Should I
That's
try it
something.
again?
I'm refreshing.
Well, I don't
See if
want
that
to.
works.
Maybe. Is
It's
anybody
me.
else seeing the number?
I am not.
Nope.
Nope.
I would say to just roll again.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again.
It went off the table.
There we go.
There we go.
With a miss. With a miss.
6.
See, it's weird how it like didn't even. Yeah, it's really weird how that happened. All right, so a
It's
6.
what happens is that the die template is put on into the chat, and then there's some JavaScript that runs.
And it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so the 6. So resist. Wait, dang it.
When you reject someone's influence,
Thank you.
on a miss, their words hit you hard, mark a condition, and the GM adjusts your labels.
Okay. I think you mark a
so-
condition, and I think
Yeah,
he's.
I
I
mark
think
a
that,
condition.
and the label shift is going to be what he said. We're just going to go with the.
So you had mentioned the possibility of spending team to offset this roll, right?
And it's that is correct. Thank you. So yeah, and Dave, where you land with a 6, Joe is right there on the cusp where
I'm on the cusp.
just a little bit of a nudge from Sync would certainly push that out. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Smart ass, like Sync or Alex actually saying something.
Yeah.
Yes, but does Joe really want to beat this by getting some comment from his rival?
Right.
Well, this is why I ask, because Alex could spend team on this, and Alex is not Joe's rival.
Right.
The whole idea of like doing the techno remix from the speakers here, I was not making a joke. I was quite serious about that.
No, I believe you.
And I feel like for Joe to hear this little subversive like rap remix going on in the background of Serge's speech might undercut it just enough.
I think so. I'll throw that. I am down with that. I will say this: the reason I'd thrown it out there initially was for Sync because now I haven't said no to this. I just want to let me get through this.
I'm just proposing Plan B. Just
keep
going.
If Sync has a cool idea, awesome. Probably lean towards that. I would say let me refine this because I want to leave the door open for Alex too, and that is Sync can get away with it without Serge rounding on him and like, oh, you want a piece of this kind of thing. Alex would probably not escape that. So that's really the difference there. Do you want to help? Absolutely. By all means, pile on. But for Alex, that probably means, he's going to have some choice words there. And, who you are, who Serge is, he can certainly find some choice advice for you as well. That would be the only real difference there, is I'm kind of leaving that door open there. But if Alex wants a piece, it's just going to be you're probably going to draw aggro.
Sync, what do you got?
I like the drama of Alex drawing aggro, and I also don't have anything really good in mind to help out. So, if somebody if So, Dave, I'll leave this up to you. Which do you want?
I mean,
I would be probably more inclined to hear something Alex or via
Done.
Alex than from Sync, who is clearly sitting there up on the bleachers, just rubbing it in that I'm in detention.
yeah, this very serious
he's
speech is
not.
happening, and Sink is just flopping himself up onto the bleachers and just sitting there with this wide grin on his face.
Arms sprawled on the seat behind him. Yeah.
One ankle like jauntily cocked over the or folded over the other kind of thing. Before we get into the team spinning, then just for just a second, Link, how do you take these words? Since you were the one that actually sort of brought the question up in the first place.
Kill.
Kiln, damn it! I made it most of the way. Oh God. If it's any consolation, the girls' game, there's one of their boyfriends' name's Emilio, and initially, there's a thing from the Patrick Warburton version of The Tick where one of the guys who one of the other superheroes, his phone always rings and he's like, "Hello, hola, Diego, how's your sister?" And that voice, that accent is what I use for this guy who's from
Manuel.
yeah, Batman. Well, and I use that voice for this guy, and I can't stop calling him Diego. It's driving me crazy. Like, and I'll go an entire session with Emilio and get it right, and then I'll screw it up at the last minute, something like that. So it's not intentional. I'm just terrible with names. So, not Link, Killen. It's my own fault for figuring out the damn acronym, or not the acronym.
I'm really glad you did, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly a fantastic flip, because Kiln is. I mean, it's also a noun. It's just so good. Anyway, so Kiln, how do you react to this whole speechifying about, like, what's the point? What's the skill that I learned? And the skill is not a skill, it's an experience. Blah, blah, blah. You're going to kill somebody. It'll be your fault. I don't know if that's how you take it, but. Are you a danger? Should you be thinking more? Or is he full of crap?
I'm gonna accept it because this is something like I already knew from back before, and I just kind of needed someone to hit
Remind
me
you?
over the head and remind me.
Yeah. Sometimes the petty punishments are the best punishments. Okay, so Kiln is going with it. So that's for you. Superior up, danger down. And then Joe is resisting, gets a 6, and
I will accept Alex's help.
if I can throw in just a little bit of color in there, I'd say that, like, not only did you get the music going, the Slap Chop, was it Slap Chop remix? God.
Any techno remix will do. That's
Any
just
techno-
the first one that came to mind.
But the idea, not just that it's happening, but that you slowly, like, you're either adding more devices to it so it gets louder, or you got all the devices and are turning up the volume as his speech continues. It's like the distracting, less cool version of there's a Pride and Prejudice speech that somebody has taken and thrown, like, that took like a rap background for it. So while she's ripping up Mr. Darcy, like, this screaming rap anthem is going on in the background. That's pretty good. It's like that, except it's annoying. But yeah, that'll push it up to, if you accept the help and that kind of thing, it just takes some of the punch out of it. Possibly he falters a little bit, or clearly he's distracted. He maybe has to repeat a couple of lines or a couple of pauses and starts over again with a couple of lines, or it's just, you catch out of the corner of your eye Alex grinning, and, maybe Sync's, shit-eating grin doesn't look as much like I'm laughing at you as much as I'm just sort of grinning at this, taking the piss with the teacher. that kind of thing. So it feels a little bit less like that. And so, be that the case, 7 to 9 you can choose. So you hold to yourself,
Yep.
tune them out. On a 7 to 9 you can choose one.
Yep. So I am going to immediately act to prove Sarge wrong.
Okay.
Wow, no way this can end.
I always
By
want to point out
yeah.
that, and just because I've misread this for a little while, that the immediately act to prove them wrong is only necessary if you do the first option. It's not necessary for the other two. So
Yeah.
depending on, that's fine. If you're picking bullet number one,
clear.
all right.
I'm picking bullet number 1.
Okay. Clear condition or mark potential by immediately acting to prove them wrong. Yes.
And when I'm acting to prove them wrong, I say, but you know, what I got angry about wasn't wrong. People weren't taking this seriously, and lives could have been at stake. So I wasn't wrong, and you know what? I'm taking this seriously too. This isn't just busy work. I'm going to make it right. And he sets himself, back into action to continue with the cleanup.
Okay. Okay. I like it. So you can, clear condition or mark potential. Which one do you do there for that? For the reject?
I think his anger is driving this. So I can't get rid of the anger from it. So I will go ahead and mark potential.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Let me just flip back around over here for a second. Every time I open up 37's sheet and I see Tessa Men in Blacking back at me from the front sheet, it just makes my day. It's so good. Okay. Yeah. This is an interesting one. Surge, well, to say his face is expressionless is kind of redundant. Again, his face is just kit carring back and forth. He's watching you, arms folded, and he did this whole thing pretty much with his arms crossed across chest, and he just continues to watch. Kiln, has already nodded to get back to work. Joe does a bit of a speech, and he's getting back to it, and he kind of watches those two for a little bit. Pondering, possibly. What song does do the speakers crossfade into after that? Alex?
That's a good question. Mostly I was just remixing the various cries and screams and things that the fake people were going to be doing.
Yeah, in my head it crossfaded into la 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 la.
I'm going to go with REM's "Everybody Hurts."
Oh
which
my
is
god!
A slow ballad, but if you've seen the music video, it's a bunch of people caught in a traffic jam and they just get out of their cars and leave.
It's so funny, and kind of in the same emotional space I was thinking of anyway, and that shifts his attention and kind of draws him away, and he walks over. He doesn't stalk over or anything like that. But he does come over, comes over to you, and he I don't know how to say it. He puts his hands behind his back, but not like the Sergeant Parade rest kind of thing. But there is definitely that. I mean, this Sergeant Surge thing, you don't know what his backstory is, but there's something going on there where he's definitely got a little bit of military something going on there, although he definitely isn't like Full Metal Jacket drill sergeant kind of thing, but there's definitely some unconscious body language there that strikes you as being, you know, at least faux military at some point in time. But he comes over there and he just, that's where he puts his hands to keep him out of the way, and he just quietly says, I understand what you're doing, and having your team's back is commendable. There are times when what we have to say at the school actually is important, and this might have been one of them. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But this might have been one of them. And it didn't land the way it probably could have because of you. So maybe that's good. Maybe it's bad. But maybe protecting them from painful lessons that aren't deadly painful isn't always the best idea. You're real clever. You're real clever. Maybe you could be a little bit more clever and think about protecting them by letting them get hit when it doesn't count. Just a thought. And that's him trying to shift your labels. Superior down, savior up, which I realize is kind of a Briar Patch thing, but it is what he's pointing at you. And he just says it. It's just that is definitely a between him and you kind of a thing. He doesn't say it loud enough to carry or anything like that. Not least because REM is still playing.
Oh, I'm definitely going to take it. Like Alex feels like their point has been made. That
And you know, honestly, a lot of that is just showing Joe that you got his back, which is, I think that comes through loud and clear as well. All right, so yeah, he shifts. Yep, and certainly for Soldier, it's not any great. Like, oh no, not Savior. Whatever will I do?
yeah, it's all good.
Okay, so you guys are doing this. Sync, do you is this basically like popcorn eating time and watching this whole thing as they're working their way through this thing? Is that how you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here for moral support.
I'm just random question.
Moral support.
Okay, all right. I'm feeling very supported by watching these things. I feel like I've refilled. I'm picturing you guys walking out afterwards and Sync going, "Thanks, guys. That really refilled my cup." Anyway, Matt, you have they. I don't imagine that you probably have this kind of. Well, no. Okay, so dorm room door has on it like a whiteboard kind of a thing. It just comes stock. It isn't a thing you have to go and get. It's just there next to the door or on the door or something like that for people to leave notes. And let me think about this for a second. Well, did we decide? I gotta look at the playbooks here real quick. It doesn't especially matter, but there we go. Okay. Have we said what abilities Macaron has as part of her like sort of? I mean, I know we were doing like she's basically like a flip of Super Chica, but that's more of a Supergirl kind of thing, and that's not really where the Star's stuff is at. What is like so there's Sonic and Light. It's very flashy stuff. Um, like the power sets are I'm taking votes like sonic control, electrodynamic control, light control, strange wings, body plasticity and stretching, or flame control. Any votes on that? Or were you thinking of something else? Anything flashy. I don't really care what it is. It could be something else. Anything? Any thoughts? Thoughts? Everyone is very quiet.
It's because you lost connection with this Doris.
Oh, can you
No,
close?
No, I'm just screwing with you.
Yeah, okay.
No, I have no strong opinion one way or the other.
All right.
Yeah, I imagined her as sort of just. Go ahead.
I was just saying, whose character is Macaroon?
Macaroon is like she's the
You
star.
know who added her?
Oh.
Who added her?
I added her.
Ah, right. Okay.
Therefore, if no one wants to speak up, it's you.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I had sort of imagined her as, kind of a very generic, kind of super girly brick type of character, which is kind of completely at odds with her, kind of star quality sort of thing. But
So it's more of the personality kind of thing more than anything else, as much as anything else, or
right. Yeah, she doesn't
I
have
gotcha.
super charisma or super, but she's good at what she does, and she shows off her powers on TikTok, videos and all those things that cool kids do.
I'm reminded of the old Heroes TV show. If the cheerleader who like can take all the ridiculous damage and has her friend like out there filming all the crazy stuff, is that she's like testing her abilities and stuff like that. Except instead of we can't let any of this get out, like they're like it's going up to their Instagram story nonstop. Um, where she's just like, let's see how far I can throw this old car at the junkyard and stuff like that. Um, Okay, all right. In that case, man. I think, and I may have to go. Let me let's look at this again. Hmm. Pollyanna is the Nova biokinesis. Oh, she can shape change and stuff.
She's the shapeshifter, thrill
Right.
seeker,
She's the scary shapeshifter.
danger gal.
Yeah, the scary shapeshifter.
The one who keeps wanting to hear from Joe about how it feels to be really powerful.
Yeah. Okay.
Also his lab partner.
Yep. I think Pollyanna is a good name there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with Macaron. Okay, so
Margie had stepped away from her
yeah,
headphone for a moment.
wait till she gets back. But when she gets back, let me know when she's back, or she can let me know when she's back. What time is it? Alex, when as you guys are headed out of the gym, so this is about school's out 3:30, so call it 5:30 probably. Do you stick it out all the way to the, well, you're technically on detention or anything like that, but assuming that you stick it out all the way to the end, everyone's leaving at 5:30. What's the general, so the general conversation there is maybe what are you guys like trying to figure out what to eat now? What you're doing for the rest of the evening? That kind of conversation, or what's the tell me the background noise as you four are leaving the gym.
That's a good question because Alex's intention is basically to just hang out until it gets creepy and then go away and keep monitoring them. But
if it never gets creepy, yeah, who can say? So
I want to say that at least one of them, having just caused property destruction and or assault on a teacher, probably are going to wonder what Alex was doing here, and I imagine that one of them will ask. So I'm going to say, like, did Kiln or Joe think to ask Alex what they're doing here?
That's a good question. I like that question.
Joe's probably too self-absorbed in this at the moment to ask
Perfect.
that.
Kiln, what say you?
I'd probably leave it.
It's also
I'll
possible it might be.
ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be just Sync, like trying to get his enjoy the full length and breadth of his popcorn eating opportunities here.
See, they didn't ask. I love this party. This is perfect. These are the people I wanted to be monitoring.
So if Sync asks, it's probably when you guys are on the way out, because it's, like you guys are walking out and Sync's like,
What were you in for?
Hey, Powertronic, huh?
Oh, man, Alex, I gotta thank you so much. You did like the best thing possible for me.
Solid redirect there. Nice job.
Yeah, I don't think that these two folks know about you meeting Powertronic, though. You want to tell us all about it?
Oh yeah. So check this out. I was his teaching assistant, and yep, Ratty's gonna launch into a full spiel about a whole bunch of inane stuff.
As Alex casts transform into Wallflower.
Even if you recall that he has no memory at all of what Positronic actually said, because he was so self-absorbed in the moment trying to think of what he was going to say to him.
Oh yeah, no, and this if anybody asks, Ratty's just gonna deflect and be like, school stuff.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Like, what did he say? Oh, it was awesome. It
was amazing and inspiring. Well, what was it? I wasn't listening. That's school stuff.
It's, school stuff. It was fine. Assume that so Alex is sort of what. Do you take that time to disappear, or since there's nobody really querying your stuff, you just sort of end up trailing along in the wake kind of thing?
No, I'll hang out.
Okay.
But I'm also guessing that these two need to probably clean up. Like take a shower, wash their hands, do something to get all that glue off.
That may take some time for Joe, I think. Although, for that matter, Kiln's hair might never be the same.
But you have to remember that this is a school for supers. They probably have the ultrasonic showers and stuff.
Yeah. The ultimate solvent to get the glue out, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It just smells really bad.
Yeah, consider you're dealing with villains who, in some cases, are actually using glue as a weapon. Having a good solvent around is useful.
I mentioned my NPC Madhesive, I think, in the Architects of Evil. Just don't do me a favor and never take that guy seriously. But Alex can also offer, like, hey, if you two want to get cleaned up, like, I can go set up like a movie projection or something like that, and we can go hang out.
A
Joe?
movie projection?
Yeah, like a projector that like projects a movie on the wall, kind of thing.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
Pipitzing from the virtual sideline.
That's it. You should absolutely show up though, so we can hear all about your upcoming plans.
Oh, she is not going to say anything about that.
Yeah, because
At
Joe
all.
isn't bad enough as is.
Yeah.
That's a joke and Mark
I-
double angry.
Joe breaks another pencil.
Which is crazy because he's not even holding one right now. It just happens.
Yeah, I've decided that's his thing. He uses a lot of pencils, and they're always like snapping in his hand.
Got those really heavy, extra black triangle-shaped Ticonderogas, and they're still just like toothpicks.
Yeah, the old first grade big blue ones, right?
He uses
Well, it's
carpenter.
a lot cheaper than replacing the pens every time you break one.
Carpenter pencils. And anyway.
Oh yeah, the rectangular ones that you like use a knife to sharpen.
Yeah, they don't roll. You were going to say something, Bill.
Now, just a mental note that Alex will have to bring bubble pop or bubble wrap for Joe next time.
Joe takes the whole roll of bubble wrap and just squeezes.
Yeah, but that'll be
So it
super
explodes in
relaxing
his
because
hand.
you'll get all of it at once.
Matt, do you have any nice clothes? Other than like school uniforms and stuff like that? Or, I mean...
Your jump dress jumpsuit.
I was gonna say it's the wardrobe is entirely jumpsuits and jeans with really baggy sweaters, which she's now pulled every piece of clothing out of her closet and it's thrown around her room at this point.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna do something with like some sort of like petty vandalism in your room, but honestly, I kind of feel like even if like Jillian got in there and looked around, she'd be like, like what would she trash? Like she can't go through and like wreck your one nice outfit or something. You don't have one from her point of view.
I think Jillian would end up in the cliche comes in, doesn't see anything there, goes, how can she live like this, and then comes back with like 3 different outfits laid on Met's bed that are perfect for the occasion.
I can't. Oh my God, I love that so much.
Yes.
I love that so much. I am going to punish you by making Jillian your new like fashion mentor. I mean, I was gonna make her an enemy, but this is so much worse. I love it.
Met gets back to her room and the door opens and Jillian is there and says,
"And your clothes are strewn around the room." She's like, "Okay, in all honesty, what
Do you even have a decent bra?
Sorry.
In all honesty, like what, like
you can't just use gravity, girl.
I thought you came from the future. What, did they just forget how poly cotton blends even work? What? This is you. Come in, sit. Don't touch anything. Don't move. She leaves. She comes back in, raises her hand. She's not really looking at you. She's like looking out the window. Fingers to the forehead. Order Thai food. This is going to take all night. And she walks out again.
Oh, and of course, poor Matt has no idea how to react to this at all.
Oh my God. That's just. Thank you.
You guys are mean.
James, thank you. From my heart. It reminds me of that. There's like it circulates around Tumblr every 3 to 4 months, where it's like, the burglar who broke into my apartment while I was sleeping, shakes my shoulder and wakes
Oh
me up
yeah.
and goes, "Dude, you live like this? Like, do you need help? I mean, seriously." Um, there's some actually really interesting threads that have spun off that. Anyway,
I just that makes me think of good cop, Indian mom cop.
yeah, I love it. Okay, so uh, yes, Jillian inflicts upon Met a makeover. Okay. She is very knowledgeable. She is, and I'm saying now she doesn't have influence over you, but this is about Evan. And because the focus is staying laser focused on that and your nervousness around that, and you're kind of like completely out of your depth in that way, because he's prettier than any of the pretty models on the
Yeah.
on the ship,
And his hair does that thing
and
all the time.
and ridiculous to boot. Yeah, and she's on that and seems to be providing a path forward to success with regards to that, or at least to not utter humiliation. For that reason, I'm saying that I would say that she has that her words. She doesn't have influence, but her words have impact over you. How does that? How is that worded? I want to. I think she qualifies to be able to shift your labels at this point, is what I'm saying. To come at
In
it.
other words, the situation gives her influence if I don't argue that she doesn't have influence.
Yeah, correct.
I mean, we could just
I can
ask.
accept her having influence over me. How's that?
For the purposes of this situation, how did?
Which is like kind of normal for her because
Well, what I'm thinking,
I start off with everybody having influence over me. So
which is fine, yeah. And I'm thinking more of like the wording from provoke, because like the wording of provoke is when you provoke someone susceptible to your words, and because of her angle, you are absolutely susceptible to her words.
okay.
Kind of a deal, I think, because
You've a mighty blow
well, she's not going to
of
try.
being invited out on a date.
I mean, I kind of wanted to do that at that point, but there's a point at which you've overused that move. She thinks. Oh my God, there's just so much work to do here. Okay, all right. You're very, very smart, but I can work around that. We need to. I'm sorry. I managed to get that far away from the line before I thought it was funny, but anyway. So we need just Evan. I know boys like him, not quite like him, and clearly I don't completely understand his logic in this. The, the brain is going to get in the way. You need to not think and just have a good time and talk and look more. This is so. You are a lot to handle, and the situation is a lot to handle, and second language on top of everything. Okay, here's what we're going to do. And she basically, her whole basic idea here is more socialization, more talky, less thinky. Don't be so that done. And moving your superior down and your mundane up so that, and she goes, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be enough, but this is not the key to the, your first Oscar nomination. This is damage control. We're just trying to make it not as bad as it probably will be. That's what this is. So we're going to coach, and we will help. We will help. In fact, I have, and she does the thing, and like 2 more people come in. And this is the thing, 2 more of her girls come in, and before they sit down and do anything or anything like that, like as they're coming in, she produces a cell phone from somewhere, and she hits a pose with these 2, and they both, with her saying anything, tuck in over her shoulders and hit Instagram
Right, the
pose.
mark.
Like they
Yeah.
just hit the Instagram mark and do the picture. And while she's talking and shaking her head in dismay and coaching you on the next thing, and the girls are reorganizing everything, and somebody came in somehow with the Thai food that you ordered and all this other kind of stuff, she's talking to you, but at the same time also posting that picture to Instagram, applying filters, adding
See,
in the
that is her
hashtags.
superpower.
And she's doing this, and she's doing all of this while and I should probably tag you. What's your Instagram?
Instagram?
And she takes a deep breath, and when she lets it out, it kind of shakes. Like,
So this is her taking a powerful blow.
yeah.
Actually, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that my yeah, I don't have anything in the current age that's equivalent to this.
No, I don't think so. Probably. I almost feel like there's times when I want to use the adaptability thing from James's playbook or from Kiln's playbook for you, honestly.
Well, I do have a great move that would be amusing, which is, yes, I can assess the situation and ask, what does the future know about this moment?
The moment it all began to go wrong.
I almost want the applied history one, to be perfectly honest, but
That's true. Yeah.
when you pierce the
But-
way, some memories thing, remember someone. Anyway, okay. Yeah, that gives you that extra answer. Okay. So what she's essentially trying to do is shift your labels, superior down and mundane up, to at least get your mundane to a 0.
I'm going right along with that.
Okay, lovely. So yeah, go ahead and shift your labels there. I'm not doing any more. I'm not clicking it.
Mundane up, and what was the down?
Superior.
Superior. Okay.
You need to think less, more, everything else. But mostly just. All right. So yeah, it's a whirlwind of confusion and mascara, eyeliner, for the rest of the night. But yes, next session we have to begin with you with her first attempt as you arrive in class the next morning. That'll be when Joe has to take a powerful blow. Okay, so I beg your indulgence on this one, guys. I've got a headache that has just like come on the last 5 minutes or so, right behind my eyebrow. So sinuses, I guess. I think probably. So I have to curtail this a little bit earlier than I normally would, because I'm in a good mood and it's going to go away here. Toot sweet.
That's fine.
I apologize. I sat down and I leaned my head back, and something kind of popped behind my ear, and now I've got like this. I hate that. I never had migraines. I don't think I've ever had migraines, but I've had a sinus headache at least a couple times in my life that was so bad I got nauseous and I had to lay down on the floor, because it'll wreck you. This is not that bad, but anyway. So we did not, I don't think, do end of session moves last session. Is that correct?
Not.
We did not.
And I think this is a perfect time to do that because of everything that's happened here. more so than even the last mask game. This really feels like, at least the first couple of sessions here, really felt like the first and second half of the same session, sort of a little bit. So that's working out. So I will begin with, from the end of the list here, we will go with Margie. Margie, closer to the team, further away from the team, more into your own image of yourself.
Oh, this is certainly not my own image of myself, so I'll say close to the team.
Closer to the team. Who will reap the benefit of that? Who gets influence? I will accept Jillian in this case, although that's,
no, I think that's cool. That's appropriate. Because it's either that or I give influence to my elvish prince, and yeah, that seems a little bit premature.
Yeah. Okay.
Not to mention dangerous.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Date night at the boardwalk is going to be a good night. Okay. So in that case, Jillian did not have influence. Please make a note of the fact that she has influence over you in this thing. She did not have influence, so we're not shifting labels, and you can either clear condition, which you don't have, or take potential. So do that.
I will go ahead and take potential.
Since every other, option is pointless, and there you go. Mike. In this case, Sync.
Yep. Given what happened in the last episode, I'm going to say grow more into my own image.
All right. Shift your labels as you see fit. One up, one down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kiln. Closer to the team, further away from the team, more into your own image of yourself.
Feel like this was more into image of myself.
Okay, cool. And kind of I like some of the stuff with Surge, just kind of reminding yourself, oh yeah, this is how this works. Joe, Mighty Joe.
I'm going to go with closer to the team.
And influence to
Alex.
Nice. Very nice.
And
Alex, did you already have influence?
Alex already has influence over me.
All right. So shift as you see fit. And do you want to? Are you picking up potential, or are you clearing condition?
You know what? I will go ahead and clear the condition, clear the angry. Just because it's really after this that I go and have my therapy session late.
Right. Nice. I like that. And Alex.
I'm gonna have to say closer to the team. I'm gonna give it to Joe because really there was nobody else.
Okay. Very cool. And the fact that you stepped in there to kind of help him out. So a little bit of scene stuff there. Met with the girls, with Jillian's girls, in the dorm room. There's certainly the flurry of the food, but there's also the talking around, mouths full of food as they're stuffing their faces with Thai food, and laughing or gossiping, I guess, and watching Met's eyes as she's tracking back and forth and watching, but also I think clearly sort of enjoying this incredibly high energy exchange between all of these. And you can see moments where that kind of laughter that you really only see from people where stuff is just ridiculously funny because you're starting to get tired, kind of level where all four of them are laughing and at least to a certain extent bonding and stuff like that. So we see a little bit of that as the camera sort of panning by those. With Joe and Sync, and Kiln and Alex, I feel like there's pizza and maybe like Alex, when you said you were going to project something up onto a wall, is it a school projector that's been removed from a classroom?
Oh, that's possible.
I
Could
mean,
just be,
I like the irony of it, like kind of a wink in Kiln's direction, like, you know, uh, given what happened there. What are you guys watching? What's playing up on, I don't know, like a common room wall or something like that? What do you pick?
okay. So I'm going to introduce you folks to this new file sharing service called Napster. No, just kidding. Napster closed down 20 years ago. There's this thing called the dark web, and we can get everything. So really, what do you want to watch? Because if you put me in charge, we're going to be watching like Potemkin and the Odessa step sequence. It's not going to be great, but it's a very formative moment in cinema, and I think that everybody should see it.
My God. Alex has strong opinions about Graveyard of the Fireflies and why you have to at least watch it once.
No, okay. So we're not going to be watching Grave of the Fireflies. I do not need any of you killing yourselves. Alternately, I did manage to get a redubbed version of TNT's Night Flight series during their animation and music videos specials. There's some obscure stuff from 1983 off of cable TV that we got.
Oh my God.
I
love this.
There's some Soviet wave video remixes that people put out on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff to watch, you folks. I'm just saying, like, let me know.
This is the
You
meme.
are a
Like,
giant nerd.
I was gonna say, this is the meme. Alex carefully does not expose any of their personal life to anybody on the team. Also, Alex exposes everything about their personal life accidentally to the team when asked about media.
That works.
I love it. Yeah, you probably get more of an insight into if you can understand it, you probably get more of an insight into Alex in about 5 minutes of them gushing about, or not gushing, but enthusiastically presenting as an option various media. So we kind of pan by you guys eating pizza,
staring quizzically at the screen.
Or eventually becoming kind of into it and stuff. While Alex maybe starts out with a lot of hand gestures and explaining it, but then kind of sitting back and just letting it happen. So some good stuff there. And then the last cut is a pan past like the headmaster's desk. He's still at his office. It's probably coming up 6, 7 o'clock at night. So it's, just past dark or just past dusk, or, just a little bit of light in the sky through the window still, but lights are on in there. Knock on the door. Come in. Serge is in the doorway. Walks in, assumes, essentially parade rest. And he kind of looks a little surprised. We don't. I wasn't expecting you to come by. Yes, sir. I just had a quick suggestion. I realize I'm not usually involved in extracurriculars and activities, but I think there's a group in the sophomore class that needs a field trip, and we're gonna stop there.
I feel sorry for those poor dumb bastards.
Oh, guys, thank you so much. That was good. I like all of that. I think it's really good. I'm also really enjoying I kind of like how the love letter stuff is coming out. So I think, yeah, I don't know who's going to be next time, but I need to shift things around a little bit. My own little stars and wishes thing here is we haven't had a lot of action for Sync last 2 episodes. Stuff has happened, but not a lot of action. Not a lot of dice hitting the table for Sync, so we need to fix that. Joe, are you getting pretty close to a level? I feel like
I am very close to a level. I am at
I just-
4.
Yeah, you had a couple of
Oh,
misses
when you
and
when you
stuff.
when you throw a couple misses in there.
Yeah, well, he
A couple of misses, and so I'm at 4 out of 5.
very nice. Very nice. Getting to the first couple of things. So yeah. So yeah, next time I think we might field trip it, see how that goes, and then we have a somebody's love letter. I'm not sure who we're gonna get to this next time, but yeah, a little bit more action there. A little bit of you guys doing instead of like having to like a lot of the dice rolling right now has been like resisting the adults and stuff in the school. I like
Alex,
it.
let me know. Alex, let me know what I'm shifting on my
Did we get it up in the?
character.
Oh, sorry about that.
I tried shifting you, and apparently it was ineffective.
So I am going to say, if this sounds right, I feel the shift that Alex would probably oppose is freak down and mundane up. That was the scene in detention was hopefully like just a couple of humanizing moves to say like, hey, I don't care what you look like, people have your back.
Nice. I like it.
That works.
Very cool. Very cool. Is it the savior can't move because you're already up? You're already maxed?
Yeah, I'm capped.
So Dave, you do have the ability to see. I mean, you can look at the sheet and
Yeah, I didn't.
yeah,
So
okay, we'll let it sit then. It's fine. You can. I mean, I don't. No, you must choose. You must shift their labels. Well, whatever.
I kind of like the idea of this is what I feel like should happen here, and if it doesn't because they're already maxed out, okay.
Yeah.
But
Perfect. Good stuff. All right, I'm gonna go take all the pills, and by that I mean 2 Tylenol, the sinus kind, and have a good night. Guys, thanks so much. Is next week good? Are we good? I'm gonna stop here.
Yes, because our busy social calendar.
we might be taking our vacation out of Cozumel next week.
Oh
so,
yeah, really?
We'll let you know.
Yeah. Do keep.